TaylorMade just released a new Qi10 driver lineup. When I heard Qi10, I'm like, what's a Qi10? And another new TaylorMade driver? Well, in this video, I'm gonna do a deep dive on all the different heads. And when I go through them, we'll find out what driver head might be best for your game. Oh, and I have last year's TaylorMade Stealth 2, so why don't we put the Stealth 2 up against the Qi10 to see if there's improvements. Let's go. The driver I'm gonna start with is the Qi10 Max, and this driver is geared to the average golfer. Well, kinda. Collin Morikawa on the PGA Tour actually just switched to this driver. This is their most forgiving driver, and he ranked number 2 in driving accuracy on the PGA Tour Tournament of Champions. I thought Collin would use the LS model or the low spin model because that's what Rory and Tiger are using, but no, he opted for the Qi10 Max. Okay, so what's new? TaylorMade is saying that they're setting a new industry standard for forgiveness while maintaining speed. Probably not the first club manufacturer to say that, but they have actually done something new that no other manufacturer has done before. TaylorMade has reached 10,000 MOI. You impressed yet? What's MOI? MOI is moment of inertia. Basically, the higher the MOI, the more forgiving the club is, and the less susceptible the club is to twisting. So in turn, it's more forgiving. Drivers have kind of plateaued around the 8,500 MOI for quite some time, so TaylorMade had to do something different to finally reach that 10,000. So what does that name Qi10 stand for? Qi is Quest for Inertia, 10, 10K, 10,000. So Qi10 is Quest for Inertia, 10,000. There we go, mystery solved. So how would this club be different than your driver? Well, I'm gonna put up a video right now of a regular driver with a miss hit, and we'll compare that to the Qi10. As you can see, the Qi10 twists significantly less, and in turn, that should produce straighter drives. And who doesn't want straighter drives? So I did not film that clip that you just saw, but I wanna do a little test of my own, a little Mythbusters, if you will. I picked up a super slow motion camera, so I'm gonna do my own test in this review so you guys can see if that is legit or if it's baloney. Are you guys tired of me talking? Because I am, and I wanna hit this thing. We are in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. We're using a TrackMan, the elevation set to 3,400 feet. I'm gonna get 10 hits with this driver to give you a benchmark on what are the stats that I'm getting out of this driver. So here we go. Let's hit this bad boy. First swing, TaylorMade Qi10 Max. Hello. Very first impressions. I'm a huge fan of how this thing looks. TaylorMade got rid of that super loud red. The only color on this driver is that blue. There's a very subtle dark blue on the face. I can't see the color at address. And this crown is completely new. I'm gonna get into the tech just a little bit later here, but what I see visually is there's no more titanium up to the face. So all I see is that carbon crown and then this faint little white line behind the face. And that really helps me line up the ball. So visually, I think that it has improved from the Stealth. My numbers, I can't believe I got 2,200 spin out of a Max driver. Typically, I get really high spin out of game improvement clubs. Carried 316, total 345. It was 4 feet right of the line. If I could do that every time, I would probably be on the PGA Tour. No, I wouldn't. You should see me chip.
Brandon Morikawa.
Okay, this was a miss hit. Let's see how this goes. So it's kind of just like a push fade. I felt at impact, my hands got way open. It felt like it was gonna go 200 yards right, 2 fairways over. And it looks like it's in the first cut, maybe the second cut. It's definitely in play. So I felt the forgiveness based on where that ball went. That was pretty cool. Hey, what's this crown called again?
Infinity Carbon Crown.
Ah, yes, the Infinity Carbon Crown. So there's carbon going all the way up to the face, so you no longer see that separation between the titanium and the carbon. I'll let you guys know the shaft that I'm using is my fitted shaft. It's a Ventus Black 6X. There are a couple stock options for the Qi10 Max, first being the Speeder NX TCS. That's for their higher flight ball or a higher launch. They also have the Diamana T+60, and that's for like their mid-launch. So this Ventus would be an upgraded shaft if you got fitted, but there are some stock options for you. Woo! Okay guys, that's 10 hits. Let me walk you through my data really quick to see what we've learned in this Qi10 Max. Okay, so here's my 10 hits. So what do we see? My dispersion was not amazing. Some go right, some go left, but my best hits that painted the line were actually awesome. Let's look at my dispersion. So down the line, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, all within a couple feet of the line. One went way left, a couple went way right. So definitely not my best session. I was averaging 2,800 spin, and I consider that to actually be pretty decent. Typically with a max driver, I would be like 3,400, 3,500, which is not ideal for me. I want to bring the spin down. I was carrying at 311, 335 total, ball speed 174, club head speed 118. Pretty good. I'm anticipating these numbers to get even better as I get more into like the player drivers. But I think this thing looks great. It sounds really good. I would say that there's a sound improvement from the Stealth, and it feels really good. It felt really good up and down the face. The ones that I sprayed right and sprayed left, they all felt kind of good. So let's move on to next model. If any of you guys watching are new to the channel, now's a great time to smash subscribe. I do a ton of club reviews just like this one. Happy to have you guys part of the community. I am doing all my filming here at Modern Golf in Calgary, Alberta, Canada. If you want a professional golf fitting somewhere in Canada, Modern Golf is all across coast to coast. Check out your local Modern Golf. The next driver we're looking at is the Qi10 LS. We're going from one extreme to the other. We just hit their most forgiving driver. Now this is probably their least forgiving driver. The LS driver is a different head shape. It looks a little bit more traditional, like maybe a little bit more compact. TaylorMade says it's still forgiving. It has some adjustability and it's geared more towards the better players. It's the only driver that has the movable weight system. So I have moved the weight all the way to the draw setting. Typically I have a big fade. My miss is like a big slice. So if I put it on the draw setting, it should help me close the face just a little bit better. Visually, yeah, it does look a lot smaller. I can still see some very faint carbon on the crown. It's not like super in your face. It's like very small shadow of carbon. I think it looks really cool. Holy roll. Super low spin, yeah, 1900. The two driver stock options for the LS model, there's a couple 10Cs, the 10C Blue and the 10C Black. This driver is replacing the Stealth 2 Plus, and the Stealth 2 Plus is what we're gonna hit at the end of the video to see if this LS is outperforming it. Last year, the TaylorMade Stealth 2 Plus won my driver of the year. I'm interested to see if this LS is gonna keep up. Okay, that's all the hits with the Qi10 LS. Because I'm gonna compare this to my last year's Stealth 2 Plus, we're gonna save this and we're gonna go right into the Qi10. Something I see in the comments section all the time is people complaining that, oh, TaylorMade dropped a new driver again. They just dropped a new one last year. Not everyone is in the same buying cycle. I'm sure TaylorMade would love if everyone bought a new driver every single year, but the reality is if the minority of golfers are changing new drivers every single year. So let's say you've had a driver for 4, 5, 6 years, you finally saved up enough to get a new driver, or the wife gave you the okay. Of course, you're gonna wanna look at the latest and greatest. So that's what's so fun about drivers is that there's so many new ones, there's advanced tech. And if you're in the market for a new driver, why wouldn't you look at the latest and greatest? Now that we're on to the Qi10, just the straight regular Qi10, it definitely looks different than the other two drivers. I would say the shape is right in between that really traditional head shape and then the stretched out shape of the Max. So it's kind of right in between the two. There is no more movable weight system. There's a small little heel weight. That's the only thing visually that I see on it. It looks really clean, but it's right in between the last two drivers that we just hit. If you're new to the channel, New 9 Golf is a community of golfers that just learns from our mistakes. Shit happens and it's what we can do to move forward and get past all of that. I put a description in the link of this video to head to our store. If you want to join the New 9 community, check out new9golf.com. Okay, that ends my session with the Qi10. Let's look at the data. Okay, so very similar to the Max and the LS. It looks good, feels good, sounds good. And I find that the Max and the Qi10 feel the most similar. Qi10 felt a little firmer, but looking at the data, I was getting faster than I was with the Max. So my club head speed jumped 2 miles an hour. My carry went up just like 1 yard and similar total to the Max. Dispersion-wise, it seemed like it got just slightly tighter than the Max. The funny thing about fitted shafts is even if you got fitted into a shaft with a different head, it doesn't always mean that it's gonna translate into a new head. So potentially if I went through a full fitting, I could narrow my dispersion because this shaft that I'm using might react differently than another fitted shaft. So I could save that for another day. Let's look at the dispersion. Relatively consistent with my distance, but of course I would just like to tighten that up. If I look at that compared to the Max actually had more balls closer to the line. So it looks like the Max so far from an accuracy standpoint is actually outperforming the Qi10. So that's pretty cool. We have this set up on a short par 4 and it looks like I drove the green 3.5 times out of 10. So I would take, 4 out of 10 drives on the green every time. The last thing I wanted to do is hit my Stealth 2 Plus to see how that compares to this year's LS model. So let's get into that. Now that I have my Stealth 2 Plus, my old trusty, I'm gonna get the same amount of hits with this so we can compare it to the LS model. Something I forgot to mention is TaylorMade is offering their new designer series. So if you don't like the color combination of kind of this black and blue, there are different preset color options that you can choose from. Okay guys, no shame in any of those drives. Let's take a look at the data so now we can finally compare last year's Stealth 2 Plus to this year's LS. So this was the Stealth, okay? 120 ball speed. With the LS, it was 120.4. So sure, slight improvements, but it's not like 5 miles an hour, nothing crazy. The ball speed, 176 with the Stealth, 177. So again, improvements, but nothing crazy. Spin, it's a low spin head, right? 2,700 spin with the LS and 2,761. So very close, almost right on par with the Stealth 2 Plus. One of the biggest takeaways that I'm noticing is that launch angle. I was hitting the Qi10 lower. So I was getting the ball up quicker with the Stealth. Why that's happening, I don't really know. Does it have something to do with the shaft combination? The heads again are different. So if you're someone that has always hit a really high ball, you wanna bring it down, get low spin, this Qi10 LS could be a really good option for you. Carry again was very close. Actually, no, not really. I think because I was hitting it higher with the Stealth, I was getting more carry, so like 7 yards difference. But the total was actually, again, really close. 2 yards difference and that going to the Stealth 2 Plus. So is there like crazy night and day differences between the two? Not really. Like I would say that they are very comparable. This could be a good chance too that the Stealth 2 Plus or the Stealth 2 lineup might go on sale. And to see that they're that close, like it could be a good option to pick up a driver on a discount. But what I always vouch for is getting fit, because my results might not be the exact same results that you get. You might get 15 yards difference between the Qi10 and the Stealth model. So what's the takeaway from all of this? Are all of these drivers good? Yes, 100% without question. Is there one driver that's outperforming all the other ones? Not really. Do I think that I could narrow the dispersion with all of these drivers and put one of these drivers in my bag? Yes, 100%. The best way for you guys to find out is to get fit, and a fitting facility like Modern Golf would be perfect for you guys in Canada. Thanks again for watching this video. We'll check in with you next time. Okay, looking at the slow-mo footage, the first hit is with my TaylorMade Stealth 2 Plus. I purposely tried to tow it to see what would happen at impact. I was able to tow it right away. I had a super crappy swing and the face opened wide up. I then tried to do that with the Qi10 Max. It took me 5 or 6 hits to actually tow it. I was purposely trying to tow it every time and I kept actually hitting it pretty good. So finally I had a towy hit and the face looked like it stayed square through impact. I felt it right away, but I'm actually blown away on how forgiving that Qi10 is. So that 10,000 MOI is actually no joke. So myth confirmed.
Stayed more square.
Crazy.
Did it? Did it
Yeah,
not?
100%. No questions asked.